Hello there, welcome to News at 10 on Rajya Sabha television, bringing you the biggest developing news stories at the top of this hour. My name is Aishwarya and here are the headlines. Prime Minister Narendra Modi to inaugurate a Global Entrepreneurship Summit in Hyderabad. 3-day of a gathering of entrepreneurs and investors, women the majority participants. US President's advisor Ivanka Trump to lead the US contingent. Scrutiny of nomination papers for the second phase of Gujarat Assembly elections to be taken up today. Campaigning gains momentum for the first phase of polls. Prime Minister Modi addresses multiple rallies. Former bureaucrat N.K. Singh appointed as chairman of the 15th Finance Commission, constitutional body to decide the sharing of taxes between states and centre for 5 years. After the US, France conveys the deep concern to Pakistan over the release of Mumbai terror attack mastermind Hafiz Saeed. France and India to continue efforts to combat terrorism. And Pankaj Advani wins 18th World Championship title, outclasses Iran's Amir Sarkhosh in the final to claim IBSF World Snooker Championship. Our top story at the top of this hour, Prime Minister Narendra Modi will inaugurate the 8th edition of the Global Entrepreneurship Summit in Hyderabad today. Now, the 3-day summit is being hosted for the first time in Southeast Asia by the governments of India and the United States. It is a preeminent gathering of entrepreneurs, investors and supporters from around the world. It will also be the first GES in which over 52.5% women are participating. With the theme of Women First, Prosperity for All, a number of leading female voices will speak at the summit. More than 10 countries will be represented by an all-female delegation, including from Afghanistan, Saudi Arabia and Israel. Summit will also see increased focus on encouraging women participation in businesses, also spurring innovation and deepening Indo-US business ties.
This year's summit theme demonstrates the commitment of the United States and Indian governments to the principle that when women are economically empowered, their communities and countries thrive. Women entrepreneurship helps drive innovation and job creation, as well as address the world's greatest and most critical challenges.
The Global Entrepreneurship Summit is really just another very significant sign of the strong partnership that the United States and India have across a broad range of issues, including economic issues, entrepreneurship, innovation, how we can help women, youth obtain jobs and advance prosperity in our countries, but not only for our countries, but working together for countries around the world.
And Ivanka Trump, daughter and advisor to US President Donald Trump, will lead the US delegation in the Global Entrepreneurship Summit. Now, Ivanka Trump arrived at the Rajiv Gandhi International Airport in Hyderabad early morning. In a tweet, Ministry of External Affairs spokesperson Ravish Kumar welcomed the special guest, accompanied by several top administration officials. A large number of Indian Americans are part of Ivanka Trump's delegation, which totals 350 from 38 states. Ivanka Trump will give a keynote address at the inaugural session today, along with Prime Minister Narendra Modi. Ivanka will be part of a discussion on increasing women in the workforce through skills training, education and mentorship on the second day. Prime Minister Modi will also be hosting a dinner for the US President's daughter at Hyderabad's Falaknuma Palace. And before taking part in the Global Entrepreneurship Summit, Prime Minister Narendra Modi will inaugurate the much-awaited Hyderabad Metro Rail today. The 30-kilometer-long first phase of the Metro Rail project between Miapur and Nagol, having 24 stations, would be launched by the Prime Minister this afternoon at Miapur station. Its commercial operations would start a day after. During its inaugural run, Modi and Telangana Chief Minister K. Chandrasekhar Rao will travel by the metro from Miapur to Kukatpalli and back. The trains would run from 6 in the morning to 10 p.m. Each train would initially have 3 coaches and 330 people can travel in each coach. The Hyderabad Metro line will eventually be a 72-kilometer elevated stretch which will be completed by next year. And tight security has been put in place in Hyderabad for the inauguration of its metro. In the first phase, the metro will cover a 30-kilometer stretch and is expected to carry 17 lakh passengers every day. Our correspondent Panchanan Mishra brings an overview of what to expect once the metro starts operations for the public from tomorrow.
Hyderabad got a gift of metro rail services as Prime Minister Narendra Modi is going to inaugurate first phase of metro service in Hyderabad on 28th November. This metro service has distinctive features such as it is the first metro service which has been developed under the PPP model. So the people of Hyderabad is now expecting some relief of congestion on the roads. In Hyderabad with Prashanta, this is Panchanan Mishra for Rajya Sabha TV.
And now our special segment on Gujarat Assembly elections. Scrutiny of nomination for the second phase of the Assembly elections in Gujarat will be taken up today. The last date for withdrawal is the 30th of November. Polling for the second and the last phase will be held on 14th of December in 93 constituencies. Earlier, 977 candidates were left in the fray for the first phase of Assembly polls that will be held on 9th of December. Election campaigns of the BJP and Congress are gaining momentum in the state. 89 seats of Saurashtra and South Gujarat region are going to polls in the first phase, while the remaining 93 seats in central and northern region would go to polls in the second phase. On Monday, Prime Minister Narendra Modi launched the BJP's election campaign in the state, addressing 4 back-to-back rallies through the day. Now, speaking in Gujarati, the Prime Minister sought to strike an emotional chord with the crowds while questioning the opposition Congress on a range of issues. Here's a report.
આ મોદી છે ચા વેચશે દેશ વેચવાનું પાપ ક્યારે નહીં કરે એ લખી રાખજો.
Pushing the BJP's campaign in Gujarat into high gear, Prime Minister Narendra Modi addressed multiple rallies in the state on Monday. In Bhuj town in Kutch district, the Prime Minister chose to call the upcoming Assembly election a fight between trust in the idea of development and dynastic politics. He also answered allegations against him by Congress leaders.
ભાઈઓ બહેનો આ ચૂંટણી એક તરફ વિકાસનો વિશ્વાસ છે તો બીજી તરફ વંશવાદનું વરબુ રૂપ છે. અને કોંગ્રેસના મિત્રો ગુજરાત તમને ક્યારે માફ નથી કરવાનું.
The Prime Minister also questioned Congress Vice President Rahul Gandhi over his stand on the Doklam issue. He claimed that the opposition party dislikes him because of his poor origins.
જ્યારે દેશનો સિપાઈ માઇનસ ટેમ્પરેચરમાં 70 દિવસ સુધી ડોકલામમાં હિન્દુસ્તાનની આન બાન શાન ખાતર ચીનની સામે આંખમાં આંખ મિલાવીને ઉભો હતો ત્યારે તમે ચીનના રાજદૂત જોડે ગલે લગાવીને આ કયું ગલે લગાવવાનું પરાક્રમ હતું તમારું? કોના લાભાર્થ હતો? સવાલ તમને પૂછું છું. જ્યારે દેશના જવાનોએ સર્જિકલ સ્ટ્રાઇક કરી.
In Amreli, Prime Minister Modi said his government is on a mission to give citizens of the country what they should have got 50 years ago.
આપ મને કહો, શું આ દેશને લૂંટવા દેવો જોઈએ? આ દેશને લૂંટવા દેવો જોઈએ? જે લોકો લૂંટી ગયા છે પાછું આવવું જોઈએ કે ના આવવું જોઈએ, જે ગરીબોનો હક લઈ ગયા છે એ પાછો મળવો જોઈએ કે ના મળવો જોઈએ. અને એના માટે હું લડાઈ લડું છું. ગમે તેટલી તાકાતો મારી સામે આવે, હું આ માર્ગ છોડવાનો નથી. આ દેશના ગરીબ સામાન્ય માનવી માટેની મારી લડાઈ છે. જેને આજથી 50 વર્ષ પહેલા મળવું જોઈતું હતું, જેને મળ્યું નથી, ये अपावानी में जुम्बेश उपाड़ी छे, एना हक को अपावानी जुम्बेश उपाड़ी छे.
Prime Minister Modi ended his day of rallies with an address in Surat. Polling for the two-phase elections in Gujarat for as many as 182 seats will take place on the 9th and 14th of December. Votes will be counted on the 18th of December. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Now, campaigning for the third and the last phase of urban local body polls concluded in Uttar Pradesh on Monday, and polling will be held on Wednesday in 233 local bodies spread over 26 districts, including 5 municipal corporations of Saharanpur, Moradabad, Bareilly, Firozabad and Jhansi under this phase. The Election Commission reviewed poll preparedness through video conferencing. A total of 28,209 candidates are in the fray, and the counting of voting for all the 3 phases will be held on 1st of December. News from Jammu and Kashmir. Pakistani troops opened fire at Indian posts along the line of control in Jammu and Kashmir's Rajya district late on Monday in violation of the ceasefire. Now, as per reports, Indian troops effectively and appropriately responded to the firing. The firing lasted for 15 minutes. No injury or damage has been reported from the Indian side. On to our other top story. Former Planning Commission member N.K. Singh has been appointed as the chairman of the 15th Finance Commission. The commission has been formed to look into the impact of the GST on the finances of both the centre and the states. The commission will also review several important aspects of federal fiscal finance. Its tenure will be till October 30th, 2019, by when it will have to give its final report on distributing divisible funds between the centre and the states for a 5-year period starting from 1st of April 2020. Other members of the commission includes former Economic Affairs Secretary Shaktikanta Das and former Chief Economic Advisor Ashok Lahiri. And in News at 10, we'll take a very short break. We'll be back with more news.
Tales that inspire. Stories of social change. A salute to diversity. Promoting public discourse. Events that motivate, inspiring the innovative spirit. Watch Rajya Sabha television documentaries.
The story we thought we knew. The story of magnificence, the story of bloody battles, of those who ruled and those who left their footprints. The story charting the course of our past. Talking history on Rajya Sabha TV.
Welcome back after the break. The Home Minister Rajnath Singh, who is on a 3-day visit to Russia, met his Russian counterpart Vladimir Kolokol on Monday. Both the leaders held wide-ranging talks in Moscow. They asserted that there are no good or bad terrorists and that the menace of terrorism should be fought jointly. An agreement on combating terrorism was also signed between the two strategic partners. In a tweet, Home Minister Rajnath Singh said that the new agreement between India and Russia will replace the October 1993 agreement and will help expand and deepen cooperation on issues related to internal security. Leaders of both the nations also agreed to cooperate in combating new challenges, exchange of information, cooperation in building a database and in training of police and investigative agencies. And the Supreme Court on Monday interacted with the Kerala woman Hadya in the alleged love jihad case, after which the Apex Court has now sent her to Salem in Tamil Nadu to pursue her studies. The Apex Court has asked the Kerala police to provide Hadya with security and ensure that she travels to Salem at the earliest. In the interaction with the court, Hadya said that she wanted to go with her husband Shafi Jahan. Now the court has fixed the hearing on Shafi Jahan's plea against the Kerala High Court order annulling their marriage to the 3rd week of January next year. The Supreme Court also directed the college and the university concerned to readmit Hadya and grant her hostel facility. It appointed the Dean of the Salem-based homeopathic college as Hadya's guardian and granted him liberty to approach it in case of any problem.
And we are happy that she has been permitted to continue her studies, and her marriage, which has been set aside by the High Court, has not been stayed at all. So there is no marriage as of now. She will continue with her studies. We are happy with that.
Sir, but she has talked about the freedom.
Yeah. I mean, she has the freedom to continue her studies. I mean, I am preparing for the father. We are happy that she has been sent to the hostel for completion of her studies.
And the Supreme Court is likely to set up a constitution bench next week to hear the issue of stay against mandatory linking of Aadhaar with the bank accounts, mobile phone numbers, etc. The matter was mentioned before a bench headed by Chief Justice Deepak Mishra, who said that the court would take it up in the week to come. On 30th of October, the Apex Court had referred all the Aadhaar cases to a 5-judge constitution bench to be formed by the end of November. Till such time, the government can continue to use Aadhaar for its various programs. Meanwhile, the centre has agreed to extend the deadline for the mandatory linking of Aadhaar to 31st of March next year. Currently, the last day to link Aadhaar with the PAN and the bank accounts is 31st of December, while for mobile numbers, it is 6th of February next year. The petitioners challenging the Aadhaar scheme have been pressing for an interim stay order on the government's decision, but the bench also comprising the Justices A.M. Khanwilkar and D.Y. Chandrachud said that only the Constitution bench will pass an interim order in the matter. And on to the other top story. After the United States, France has also conveyed its anguish to Pakistan over the release of Mumbai terror attack mastermind Hafiz Saeed, who heads the UN-proscribed outfit Jamaat-ud-Dawa. Now, Paris has conveyed its deep concern to Pakistan over the release of Saeed, whose outfit was listed as a terror group by the Sanctions Committee of the United Nations. Now, PTI has reported that France and India will also continue their relentless effort to combat terrorism and enhancing cooperation to deal with the menace. The banned JUD head, who carries $10 million American bounty on his head for terror activities, walked free on Friday after the Pakistan government decided against detaining him further in any other case. Meanwhile, reports say that Hafiz Saeed has filed a petition in the United Nations asking his name to be struck off from the global list of designated terrorists. The Indonesian authorities will be forcibly evicting people who have not left their homes around a rumbling volcano in Bali. This after an alert for Mount Agung was raised to its highest level. An ash-spewing volcano has forced the closure of the island's airport for the second day today. Meanwhile, External Affairs Minister Sushma Swaraj has said that she was closely monitoring the situation and that the Indian mission there would provide assistance to all the Indians who would be requiring help. Nearly 60,000 passengers stranded at Bali's airport for the second consecutive day. Some 450 flights have been cancelled or delayed as Mount Agung continues to spew ash. 5 alternative airports have been prepared for the airlines to divert inbound flights.
I'm a little bit frustrated because I checked the internet 15 minutes ago, everything was scheduled, and now I'm standing here and everything is closed. So I got the information very late.
We have gotten no information because the gates to the park to check in has been closed indefinitely. So we don't know what's the plan. So most likely we have to stay overnight.
We had planned to go back to Adelaide in South Australia this evening. We actually got here quite early, but now we've found that the flights have been cancelled. Now, we weren't notified by Jetstar in advance of us getting here, so we're very disappointed about that.
TV footage shows coal lava or lahar flowing at a number of locations on the mountainside. Lahar carrying mud and large boulders can destroy houses, bridges and roads in its path. Plumes of smoke can be seen billowing out of the volcano, with sound of the weak blast being heard up to 12 kilometers.
Tadi pagi, Kepala BVMBG menetapkan status Gunung Agung status awas level 4. Artinya level tertinggi dari Gunung Agung. Dan kemungkinan akan terjadinya letusan-letusan yang lebih besar daripada sebelumnya sangat tinggi, apalagi masih beberapa indikasi menunjukkan memang akan terjadi letusan. Bahkan letusan sejak kemarin sudah disertai dengan letusan-letusan yang eksplosif.
Residents living near the lava have been asked to immediately evacuate the danger zone, which circles Agung in a radius of 8 to 10 kilometers. However, tens of thousands of people continue to stay put near Mount Agung, prompting authorities to say that those who have not left their homes around the rumbling volcano may be forcibly evicted.
Yang jelas tadi ada laporan beberapa banjar saudara kita dari Karangasem sudah memasuki beberapa banjar pos-pos kemarin itu sudah kembali lagi. Cuma jumlahnya belum kita dapatkan secara pasti. Seperti di Tojan sudah masuk, di Gegel juga sudah mulai masuk, pengungsi di Gakah juga sudah mulai masuk seperti itu.
Agung's last eruption in 1963 left more than 1,000 people dead and razed several villages. Bali is a major tourist attraction with nearly 5 million people visiting last year. Business has also been affected since September when the volcanic tremors began to increase. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV. Let's get to some more international news in World Wrap. The latest round of UN-mediated talks on Syria peace process will begin in Geneva from today. However, UN Special Envoy for Syria says that the Syrian government delegation has not yet confirmed its attendance. The 8th round of Geneva talks is supposed to focus on the issue of elections and a constitution for a political settlement to the Syria crisis. The Syrian opposition delegation is aiming for the removal of President Bashar al-Assad. Pope Francis held talks on Monday with Myanmar's military chief at the start of a delicate visit to a majority Buddhist country that the US has accused of ethnic cleansing against its Muslim Rohingya people. The army chief told the Pope that there is no religious discrimination in Myanmar and there is a freedom of religion. The leader of the Roman Catholic Church will also visit Bangladesh, where more than 6 lakh Rohingyas have fled to escape Myanmar's military crackdown in Rakhine State. President Uhuru Kenyatta will be inaugurated for a second term in office in Kenyan capital Nairobi today. More than 20 heads of state or senior ministers are expected to attend. Opposition leader Raila Odinga, who boycotted a rerun of the presidential poll, has called for a protest rally despite a police ban. August's presidential election was annulled by the Supreme Court over irregularities. The rerun in the month of October saw Kenyatta win 98% of the vote. And all the sporting action now. India's top queuist Pankaj Advani has won the title of the World Snooker Championship. Pankaj Advani defeated Amir Sarhosh of Iran 8-2 to win the 15-frame IBSF World Snooker Championship in Doha on Monday. Earlier, on the 12th of November, Advani had won his 17th world title at the same venue when he had won the IBSF World Billiards Championship, defeating Mike Russell of England. And on to cricket, India pulled off a stunning victory against Sri Lanka in the second test in Nagpur, taking a 1-0 lead in the three-match series. The hosts pulled off an innings and 239-run win over the hapless Sri Lankans in a remarkably one-sided match. The victory margin is identical to India's test win over Bangladesh at Mirpur in 2007 when Rahul Dravid was the captain. The Nagpur test witnessed Virat Kohli slamming his fifth test double ton and R. Ashwin becoming the fastest to take 300 test wickets, among other milestones. The third and the final test will take place at the Firozshah Kotla in New Delhi starting 2nd of December. Meanwhile, skipper Virat Kohli has been rested for the ODI series against Sri Lanka starting on 10th of December. The 15-member squad will be led by Rohit Sharma.
The finger goes up. What is Dhruvan going to do?
An Asian champion Bajrang Punia and Vinod Kumar settled for silver medals at the Under-23 World Wrestling Championship in Poland after losing their respective finals on Monday. Bajrang lost the 65-kilogram finals 6-17 to Russian grappler Kular, while Vinod lost 1-3 to American Richard Lewis. India finished with 3 medals at the event. Ritu Bhogat had won a silver medal in the women's 48-kilogram final 2 days ago. And finally, the 48th edition of International Film Festival of India will conclude in Goa today. Bollywood actor Salman Khan will close the festival, which began on 20th of November. The festival was inaugurated by Bollywood actor Shah Rukh Khan at a glittering ceremony at the Dr. Shyama Prasad Mukherjee Indoor Stadium in Panaji. Information and Broadcasting Minister Smriti Irani and Goa Chief Minister Manohar Parrikar also attended the function. The 9-day extravaganza saw over 195 films from over 82 countries being screened. That's all in this news bulletin, but news and updates continue on your channel. Thanks so much for your time.